Hi everyone, I'm Yumu from Susan's family. Today, I'll teach you how to make the Chinese aesthetic series, the cloud vest. This vest is made up of several parts: the right front piece, the left front piece, the back piece, joining together, adding the border and buttons. Let's start with the left front piece. The left and right here refer to the sides of the vest when it's being worn. We will start the left front piece with a foundation chain. Work back and forth. It is divided into two parts, the left front band and the left body piece. You will need to switch colors during the process. Several crochet stitches will be used. They are all marked on the chart. I won't list them all here. Please watch me demonstrate the specific crochet method. Start with a chain. Take out the corresponding yarn. The color of the small sample is random. For specific yarn, the color scheme and hook size are as follows. Start by making a slip knot. Slightly tighten it. Then work a chain. Don't make the chain too tight. The number of chains for the small sample is random. That completes the foundation chain. Now, let's work the first row of the left front band. Read the pattern chart from right to left. Start with 3 chain stitches as the beginning chain for the double crochet. This counts as 1 double crochet, correspond to the chain stitch below. Start from the 5th chain stitch from the end. Pick up the top loop of the chain and work a double crochet, corresponding to each stitch. Continue working double crochets until you have 4 chains left at the end. When you reach the corresponding position, work 1 half double crochet, 1 single crochet, 2 slip stitches. The oval-shaped slip stitch does not need to be tightened. The first row is completed. We will use the clearer texture side as the right side of the entire piece. This is the side where the starting chain yarn tail is on the left hand. Continue to crochet the second row. Read the pattern chart from left to right. Start with 2 chain stitches as the beginning chain, correspond to the slip stitch below. Turn the workpiece counterclockwise. Pick up the braid of the slip stitch on the left and make 1 double crochet. Then pick up the corresponding stitch and crochet a double crochet. On the wrong side, the stitch is on the upper left. Complete this row. The last double crochet is worked into the beginning chain. Pick up the 2 strands of the top chain and crochet. The second row is completed. Move on to the third row. Start with 3 chain stitches as the beginning chain. Turn the work. Start from the left stitch, and correspondingly crochet a double crochet. Pay attention not to crochet into the stitch under the turning chain. For the last stitch, work a double crochet into the top of the 2-chain beginning chain. Crochet a double crochet increase, which means working 2 double crochets in the same stitch. Similarly, pick up 2 strands and crochet. The double crochet increase is completed. The 3rd row is done. Continue to the 4th row. Start with 3 chain stitches as the beginning chain. Turn the work. Turn the work. Work 1 double crochet into the stitch under the turning chain. Continue picking up stitches and corresponding crochet double crochets. Finish this row. Don't forget the ending turning chain. The 4th row is completed. For the 5th and 6th rows, follow the crochet technique used in the 3rd and 4th rows. Everyone complete it. After completing the 6th row, you can measure the height of the fabric piece. Compare it with the dimensions given in the chart. If there is a significant difference, you need to adjust your tension and recrochet to avoid the size being incorrect. Once you confirm the size is correct, break the yarn. Secure with 1 chain stitch. Leave a 5 cm tail and cut the yarn. Pull tight. This completes the left front band. Next, crochet the left body panel with the right side facing up. Join the yarn at the last stitch of the last row of the left front band. Make a slip knot. Draw the yarn through to form a loop. Adjust it slightly. The joining is complete. For any subsequent situations where you need to join the yarn, you can follow this method. Start crocheting the 1st row. First, make 1 chain stitch as the starting chain for the single crochet. This doesn't count as 1 stitch. Work 1 single crochet in the same position. On the left side, skip 2 stitches. Crochet 1 double crochet 1 needle placed 4 times. That is, crochet 4 double crochets in the same position. The 1 double crochet 1 needle placed 4 times is complete. Then, in the next stitch, work 1 double crochet 1 needle placed 3 times. Crochet 3 double crochets in the same position. We will consider these 7 double crochets as one fan shape. Continue to skip 2 stitches and crochet 1 single crochet. We will consider 1 single crochet and 1 fan shape as one group. Follow this group's crochet method to continue. Pay attention that the fan shape is divided into 2 stitches. After completing the last single crochet, crochet 1 double crochet 1 needle placed 4 times on the turning chain. This will perfectly space 2 stitches. The 1st row is done. The current yarn will be used again after skipping 1 row at the back. Here we perform the carrying yarn technique. Stretch the loop. Thread the ball of yarn through the loop. Pull tight. The loop becomes a single strand. Place it at the back and pause crocheting. Move on to the second row. Take out the corresponding yarn. Pay attention to take the yarn from both the center and the outer part of the ball. Combine them and crochet as one strand. The small sample is for easy viewing. Continue using one cotton yarn for the demonstration. Turn the fabric. Join the yarn at the end of the previous row. Crochet 3 chain stitches. Crochet 1 double crochet in the left single crochet. Three chain stitches and 1 double crochet. We will crochet the stitch pattern on the stitch, treated as one pattern A. Continue crocheting 5 chain stitches. On the left single crochet, crochet 1 pattern A. Five chain stitches. Repeat this process. Correspondingly crochet pattern A on the single crochets from the previous row, with 5 chain stitches as a transition. Finish this row. After completing the final 5 chain stitches, crochet 1 double crochet increase into the first single crochet stitch. The second row is complete. The current yarn will be used again after one row. Carry the yarn across. Continue with the third row. This row continues to be crocheted on the wrong side. Find the end of the first row's yarn. That is, the different yarn from the previous row. Hook the yarn out at the joining position from the previous row. Here, because the distance is close, the carried yarn is not noticeable. Chain 1 to begin. Work 1 single crochet in the same stitch. Weave in the previous row's chain. Then crochet a fan shape in the pattern A chain space from the previous row. That is, 7 double crochets. Next, work 1 single crochet in the middle stitch of the first row's fan shape. Work 1 single crochet. Pay attention to weaving in the bottom chain braid together. Now crochet a fan shape on pattern A. Work 1 single crochet in the middle stitch of the fan shape below. Pay attention to wrapping the chain. Finish this row. After completing the last single crochet in the last 2 stitches, correspondingly work 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet increase, row 3 is completed. Pay attention to carrying the yarn at the end. Move on to row 4. Find the yarn at the end of row 2. Turn your work. Join the yarn in the last stitch of the previous row. There is some distance here. Pay attention to carrying the yarn close to the fabric. Work 1 chain stitch. Then follow the technique for row 2. Work pattern A in the single crochets. Transition with 5 chain stitches between them. After completing the last pattern A, work 1 double crochet in the same insertion position. Row 4 is completed. Pay attention to carrying the yarn at the end. Continue with row 5. Still work on the right side. Insert the hook into the last double crochet stitch of row 3. Work 1 chain stitch. Work a fan pattern on pattern A. Work a single crochet in the middle of the fan pattern below, which is 1 row apart. Pay attention to wrapping the chain stitch. Continue working this row using the same technique as row 3. After completing the final fan pattern, work 1/2 double crochet in the last stitch. Finish with the corresponding number of chain stitches. Row 5 is completed. Do not carry the yarn at the end here. Stretch the loop and pause the crocheting. You can see that the fabric forms an alternating pattern of 2 colors with staggered textures. Except for the special case of ending with chain stitches. Carry the yarn at the end of all other rows. Move on to work the next row, joining the yarn at the corresponding position. At this point, you can measure the width of the left panel. Compare it with the dimensions given in the chart. If there is a significant difference, adjust your tension and recrochet this section to ensure it fits properly. Now, work row 6. Use a different yarn from the previous row. Start by joining the yarn at the corresponding position. Pick up the yarn in the third chain stitch to the right of the half double crochet from the previous row. Insert the hook into the half stitch to join the yarn. Work 1 chain stitch. Work 1 pattern A on the half double crochet stitch. Follow the crochet pattern below, working with the same color yarn, spaced 1 row apart. Continue crocheting. After completing the last pattern A, work 2 chain stitches. Work 1 slip stitch in the middle stitch of the fan shape. Complete the 6th row. Carry the yarn. Continue with the 7th row. Go back to the loop from the 5th row. Make 1 chain stitch to start. Start from the second to last stitch. Correspondingly make 3 slip stitches. Here, you can have the wrong side of the chain facing you. Pick up the half stitch above and crochet accordingly. One single crochet, 1 HDC 2 in 1, that is, work 2 half double crochets into the same stitch. HDC 2 in 1 completed. Continue with 3 single crochets. Below, follow the pattern from the 5th row and crochet accordingly. The last single crochet goes into the slip stitch position below. 7th row completed. Carry the yarn. Move on to the 8th row. Hang the corresponding yarn. Refer to the chart and join the yarn. Then follow the pattern and crochet accordingly. After completing the last 5 chain stitches, work 1 single crochet into the slip stitch on the left edge. Work 1 single crochet, two chain stitches. Work 1 single crochet into the final slip stitch. Carry the yarn. Eighth row completed. Continue with the 9th row. Join the yarn at the beginning chain of the previous row. Chain 2 as a beginning chain. Work 1 double crochet into the left stitch. Then follow the pattern and crochet this row. After completing the last fan shape, below the chain space, skip 3 stitches. Work 1 single crochet. Wrap the chain braid. Work 3 double crochets into the final chain space. In the same position and on the last stitch, work 1 DC2 tog. First, work 2 incomplete double crochets. Yarn over. Insert the hook. Draw the yarn through. Yarn over and draw through the first 2 loops. The first stitch is complete. Continue with the second stitch. Yarn over. Insert the hook into the stitch. Draw the yarn through. Yarn over and draw through the first 2 loops. The second stitch is complete. Finally, yarn over and draw through all remaining loops. The DC2 tog is complete. For any future DC2 togs, you can follow this method. Refer to the chart and insert the hook into the corresponding position to crochet. Carry the yarn at the end. Row 9 is now completed. Continue working back and forth in rows following the previous pattern. Work 2 rows on each side, right side and wrong side. Carry the yarn at the end. Then turn the work and join the yarn to continue crocheting. Alternate between the 2 yarns. This creates an alternating pattern. The edge stitches will change with the shape. Refer to the chart for the insertion position. Some beginning chains do not require crocheting. Pay attention to avoid crocheting in the wrong place. In row 16, you will encounter a new stitch technique, SC2 tog. Here, I'll demonstrate the crochet method using a small sample. After joining the yarn, make 1 chain as your beginning chain. At the joining position and the left stitch, work 1 SC2 tog. First, correspondingly make 2 incomplete single crochets. Insert the hook. Draw the yarn through. The first stitch is completed. Continue inserting the hook. Draw the yarn through. The second stitch is completed. Finally, yarn over and draw through all the loops. The SC2 tog is done. Continue following the chart to crochet the rest. Next, I'll demonstrate row 19. When starting to join the yarn, count up from the bottom to the 3rd chain stitch, and join the yarn. Then, follow the chart to crochet. At the end, work a cluster of a double crochet and a half double crochet. First, make an incomplete double crochet. Then, on the top of the left side beginning chain, make an incomplete half double crochet. Yarn over. Insert the hook. Draw the yarn through. The incomplete half double crochet is done. Finally, yarn over and draw through all the loops. The cluster of a double crochet and a half double crochet is completed. Next, carry the yarn across. That completes the explanation for row 19. For row 20, continue to follow the chart. Pay attention to working the corresponding number of pattern A. Then, work 3 double crochets in each single crochet. Chain 1 as a transition between them. Work 1 single crochet in the middle stitch of the fan pattern. On both sides, use 2 chains as a transition. The sample has fewer stitches. The number of patterns is not for reference. Everyone, pay attention to following the chart. After completing, since there is a long distance to carry the yarn, cut the yarn directly here. That completes the explanation for row 20. At the end of row 21, you will encounter a new stitch technique, treble crochet. Here, I'll demonstrate using this sample. Yarn over twice. Insert the hook into the corresponding position. Draw the yarn through. Yarn over and draw through the first 2 loops. Repeat 3 times. Treble crochet is complete. Carry the yarn. For row 22 onwards, you will need to join a new yarn. Continue to follow the chart. Pay attention to the stitch changes in the last row. After completing, leave all tails 5 cm and trim. Everyone, let's finish it. Take a look. This is what the left front piece looks like after completion. That concludes the explanation for the left front piece. Next, we'll learn about the right front piece. We will start from the foundation chain. Work back and forth. It is also divided into the right front band and the right front piece. Please watch as I demonstrate the specific crochet method. First, we will crochet the right front band. Start with a foundation chain. I have already started it here. Now, crochet the first row. Make 1 chain to start. Return and start from the second to last stitch. Correspondingly, make 2 slip stitches. One single crochet, 1 half double crochet. The rest will be double crochets. Once completed, the first row is done. We continue to work with the side that has the clearer texture as the right side. Continue working back and forth. Work even on the left side. Increase stitches on the right side. Once completed, fasten off the yarn. Everyone, refer to the chart to complete it. That concludes the explanation for the right front band. Next, I will explain how to crochet the right body panel. Join the yarn at the last stitch of the final row of the right front band. Start with 3 chain stitches as the turning chain. Join the yarn and crochet 3 double crochets. Then follow the pattern of the first row of the left front band. Alternate crocheting fan shapes and single crochets. Continue working back and forth. Pay attention that, like the left body panel, 2 types of yarn are used alternately. The beginning and ending stitches need to be inserted according to the chart. After completing a row, carry the yarn. Note that the 6th row ends with a chain stitch. Subsequent rows have a closer starting position. You can skip carrying the yarn. At the end of the 7th row, carry the yarn normally. For the 8th row, insert directly into the loop of the 6th row. Crochet a starting chain. Pay attention to the stitch change in the 20th row. Starting from the 21st row, the distance for carrying the yarn is farther. You can cut the yarn and join it at the corresponding position to continue crocheting. Note that at the end of the 29th row, you will encounter a new stitch. A cluster of 2 double crochets and 1 treble crochet. Here, I'll demonstrate the stitch with a small sample. First, refer to the chart and find the corresponding position. Hook 2 incomplete double crochets. Then, on the left side of the starting chain, hook 1 incomplete treble crochet, yarn over twice, insert, draw the yarn through, yarn over and draw through the first 2 loops. Repeat this 2 times. The incomplete treble crochet is completed. Finally, yarn over and draw through all remaining loops. The cluster of 2 double crochets and 1 treble crochet is completed. Continue crocheting according to the chart. Pay attention to the stitch pattern changes in the last row. Fasten off the yarn when everything is completed. Everyone, finish it up. That completes the explanation for the right front piece. The right front piece has been explained. Next, we will learn the back piece. Start with the starting pattern. Then, crochet the right back piece. After that, crochet the left back piece. Please watch me demonstrate the specific crochet method. Start with a slip knot. Crochet 4 chain stitches. Work 1 double crochet into the first chain stitch. Then, crochet 4 more chain stitches. Work 1 treble crochet into the stitch below. Pay attention after completing it. The treble crochet should be roughly level with the right side chain stitches. We will combine these 4 chain stitches and 1 treble crochet. Treat this as one starting pattern. Continue crocheting this starting pattern. Note that the initial few stitches also count as one starting pattern. Just the stitch technique is slightly different. For the last starting pattern, crochet 3 chain stitches. Work 1 double crochet into the stitch. After completing, check the number of patterns. Carry the yarn. This completes the starting pattern. Next, crochet the right back piece. On the first starting pattern, pick up the chain braid to join the yarn. Make 1 chain as your beginning chain. Work 1 single crochet in the same position. Try to position it slightly to the right. Then, crochet a fan pattern in the next chain space. Continue picking up the chain braid of the starting pattern. Alternate crocheting single crochets and fan patterns. Complete this row. After finishing the last single crochet, carry the yarn across. The first row is complete. We will use the side with the clearer texture as the right side of the entire piece. For the following rows, continue using the method for the left body piece. Start by crocheting the first few rows evenly on the left side. Pay attention to refer to the chart for inserting the hook and crocheting. After completing, fasten off the yarn. That concludes the explanation for the right back piece. Now, let's move on to the left back piece. Place the right back piece with the right side facing up. Start with a chain at the top. Join the yarn in the chain space of the starting pattern on the right side, and crochet the first row. Note that the yarn usage should be symmetrical with the right back piece. The crochet technique is identical. Starting from the second row, pay attention to joining the yarn at the corresponding positions for crocheting. The subsequent crochet techniques are similar to those for the right front piece. Complete it. Finally, fasten off the yarn. That concludes the explanation of crocheting the left back piece. Next, let's learn how to join the pieces. This involves joining the shoulders and the side seams. For the shoulder join, work on the right side of both the front and back pieces. At the corresponding shoulder areas, pick up and crochet slip stitches along the edges of each row. Use a chain stitch to connect between the slip stitches. You can refer to the following video demonstration for the specific joining method. Once you've learned the technique, use the corresponding yarn to join the pieces. Please watch the demonstration. Here, I'll demonstrate the joining method using a small sample. This shows how to join rows together. Place the right side of the fabric facing out. Align the areas that need to be joined. You can start the joining from the beginning chain side or from the end side. First, at the rightmost edge of the front piece, attach the yarn at the edge. If this is the starting chain, you can pick up the yarn at the insertion point. If it's the ending side, pick up the top of the beginning chain or the stitch to attach the yarn. Then, chain as a transition. The number of chains here can also be adjusted according to your preference. The more chains you make, the wider the joining area will be. For the small sample, I'll chain one, then slip stitch at the corresponding position on the edge of the back piece. Don't pull too tight. You can also adjust the joining stitch according to your preference. For example, you could use single crochets instead. In this small sample, I'm using slip stitches throughout. Continue chaining. Go back to the front piece. Pick an appropriate position, which is where you can reach after completing the chains. This should give you a good idea of where to connect. It's roughly where you can reach after chaining. If there are more chain stitches, the spacing for joining can be slightly increased. In this small sample, I'm picking up one stitch from the edge of this row to join. Continue chaining. Join with a slip stitch at the corresponding position on the back piece. Continue joining using this method. Pay attention to adjusting the joining positions based on the actual situation. Ensure that the pieces are joined evenly and lay flat. Don't forget to join the final edge. Make sure the side edges correspond. Finally, cut the yarn and weave in the ends. Everyone complete it. That's how you join rows together. Next, we'll join the side seams. This means joining the last row of the front and back pieces. Pick up the stitches or chain spaces and join with a slip stitch. Use one chain stitch as a transition between them. For the specific joining method, refer to the video demonstration below. Once you've learned it, join these two sides together. Please watch the demonstration. I'll demonstrate the method using a small sample. The technique for joining stitch positions. Align the areas that need to be joined. Make sure the right sides of the pieces are facing out. On the front side, attach the yarn at the top of the first stitch on the right edge. If it's a stitch, simply insert the hook into the stitch. If it's a beginning chain, then pick up the two strands above the beginning chain and attach the yarn. Then crochet a chain for transition. The number of chain stitches can also be adjusted according to your preference. The more chain stitches, the wider the joining area will be. For this small sample, crochet one chain stitch on the back side, slip stitch into the top of the first stitch on the edge. Do not tighten. You can also adjust according to your preference. Adjust the stitch technique for the connection. For example, you can use single crochets. In this small sample, all connections are made with slip stitches. Continue crocheting chain stitches. Go back to the front piece. Pick an appropriate position, that is, where you can reach after completing the chain stitches. The more chain stitches, the more you can increase the spacing for the connection slightly. In this small sample, the connection is made by skipping one stitch. If the connection points are not in the same row, choose a roughly appropriate position. Just make sure that after connecting, the pieces are evenly and smoothly joined. Continue crocheting chain stitches. Attach at the corresponding position on the other side. Follow this method to select appropriate positions for connecting the front and back pieces. Pay attention to also matching up the edges of the pieces. After completing the connection of the last two edge stitches, break the yarn and weave in the ends. Start by weaving in the ends on the wrong side as well. Everyone should complete this step. That concludes the explanation of connecting stitch positions. The explanation of the connection method is now complete. Next, we will learn how to crochet the edging. This includes crocheting the cuffs and the entire border. Crocheting the cuffs involves working in rounds around the armholes. The new stitch technique used here is the reverse single crochet. Please watch me demonstrate the specific crochet method. First, we'll work the first round. I'll use this small sample to demonstrate. Join the yarn at the underarm joining position. Make one chain as your beginning chain. Work one single crochet in the same position. As you crochet, catch the yarn tail as well. Then, work single crochets along the side. There are no specific requirements for the insertion point of the single crochets. Distribute the single crochets evenly. After completing the round, make sure the fabric is flat and the curve looks nice. When you encounter yarn tails, weave them in as you go. Carry the yarn and hide it as well. Follow this method to complete the entire round. Once finished, work one slip stitch into the starting single crochet. Work one slip stitch. Pull tight. The first round is complete. Move on to the second round. Start with one chain as your beginning chain. Insert the hook into the right side single crochet stitch and work one single crochet. Complete one reverse single crochet. Continue inserting the hook into the right side stitches and work reverse single crochets. Follow this method to continue working. If you find that working into each stitch makes the edge uneven, you can skip one stitch and work a reverse single crochet as needed. Make sure the final edge looks neat and flat. After completing the round, leave a 10 cm yarn tail and cut the yarn. Sew a few stitches at the starting position. Make sure it connects neatly. Weave in the ends. For any other loose ends, weave them in on the wrong side, following the texture of the same color. Everyone complete this step. That concludes the tutorial for the cuffs edging. Next, we'll learn how to edge the entire piece. Start by working one row of single crochets on the right and left front bands, the third row, and the middle neckline. The technique here is similar to the first round of the cuffs edging. Adjust the insertion point as needed. Ensure the fabric piece is flat and neat. Fasten off the yarn when done. Then, on the other side of the front band, and along the edges of the front and back pieces. Work one row of single crochets. Start from the left front band. Work to the right front band. After completing this, work 1 round of back loop single crochets. All the way around the single crochet stitches and the starting point of the front band. The method is the same as the second round of the cuffs. Finally, sew neatly at the joining point. Everyone can refer to the previous demonstration to complete it. That concludes the edging tutorial. Lastly, let's learn about the buttons. There are 3 pairs in total. The top pair is close to the edge of the front band. The bottom pair of purl buttons is about 14 centimeters from the edge. The middle pair is centered. You can adjust the specific positions according to your preference. For each pair, start by embroidering the pattern. Then crochet the buttonholes. Finally, sew on the purl buttons. Please watch me demonstrate the specific making method. Here, I'm using a small sample for the demonstration. It doesn't have any edging. The position is random. Take out the corresponding yarn. Cut 3 pieces of yarn, each about 60 centimeters long. Thread the needle. Tie a knot at the end. First, determine the button position. From the middle of the first row of the front band, come out to the right side. Insert into the 5th row. Try to insert into the middle of the double crochet. Pay attention to keeping the position vertical. Pass through the starting knot. Tidy up the thread. Keep the fabric flat. Then, insert upwards into 3 points to thread. The lines gradually shorten and are evenly distributed, forming an attractive curve. The top line segment should be just over 1 centimeter. After determining that the curve is appropriate, embroider symmetrically on the other side. You can see that a similar pattern forms on the other side. Take out 2 threads. And use 1 thread to secure the edge of this point in the middle. Secure each group of threads. Try to make it as attractive as possible. Finally, tie off the yarn tail. Trim the excess tail from the starting knot. Hide the yarn tail at this position. Embroider the pattern on the other side symmetrically using the same method. Everyone complete it. Next, crochet the buttonholes on the right front band. Attach the yarn at the edge of the center position of the pattern. The sample swatch here does not have an edging. Everyone, pay attention to crochet the edging together as you work. Here, use 2 strands of yarn together. Make 6 chain stitches. Then join with a slip stitch in a nearby position. You can try using a purl button. After confirming it fits properly, fasten off and weave in the ends. Hide the yarn tail at this position. This completes the buttonhole. Next, secure a purl button at the center of the pattern on the left front band. After securing it firmly, tie a knot on the wrong side, and weave in the ends. Finally, fasten the button. This completes 1 set of buttons. You can make the other buttons using the same method. That concludes the explanation for the buttons. Up to this point, the entire sweater has been explained. If you have any unclear points during the crocheting process, don't hesitate to join our Facebook group to get supports. Susan's Family. Support your handwork experience. Enjoy the joy of life. Thank you all for watching. See you in the next episode.